Okay, here is another even deeper character building section. There is some seriously heavy stuff coming up. Section 4, The Journey. This is based on character arc. Character growth. It's a necessity. For a good story, the character has to develop somehow, usually. Well, the main character. Be it negative or positive, if the protagonist is the same as when they started, the story's pointless. However, the character should not, I repeat, should not solve all their problems at the end of the story. They are still human. They can get better awareness of it, but they can't, ascend to perfection, because that is not going to be very believable. Here's a question you should ask yourself. How do you want your character to develop? It can be positive, maybe even negative. They can overcome a fear or some insecurity, become more mature, learn something about themselves. They can let go of a past trauma or grudge or move on past it. They can become more secure in their faith or start a new faith or lose one. They can forgive themselves for something, maybe even accept they were wrong, or they can go crazy. There's lots of options for your character to develop, but it's important that they do develop, especially if they're a central main character. Now, here is a little bit of note-taking, now thinking about what we've been going over. Your character's growth. Here in one column make a beginning section for your character at the beginning of the story, and then another column or section for your character at the end of the story. An example, Jane is insecure about her future at the beginning. She depends on her family to get her out of trouble, and she's irresponsible and impulsive. Now, by the end of the story, you can have, say, Jane has become a little more sure about where she wants to go. She's learned to depend on herself more and starts to realize that her actions have consequences that she has to face. That is an example of a character growing. Now, notice I didn't say she became responsible or became less impulsive, but she became aware of it and she started to work on it. I mean, like I said before, your character growth is one, development is one thing, but no mere human can, suddenly become perfect. We're not perfect. Making your character human. These are for possible exercises that are I strongly recommend for your character and developing them. They may not necessarily be in the story itself, though if you like what you've written enough, there's a possibility that you could fit it in with the story. Now, first, write a situation where your character does something wrong. It can be well-intentioned, but it must be wrong somehow, and they have to face the consequences for it. Now, write a situation where your character has a fight with a friend. Have your character be the one who is in the wrong. You can have the friend be in the wrong, but your character has to share the blame. They can't be the one who turns out to be right, and it was justified. This is all a part of making your character a regular, valuable human being like you or me or the rest of us. It's what makes a better character. Prejudices. Does your character have prejudices? Come on, be honest. Everybody has some prejudice. They don't even have to be racial. It doesn't have to do with racism. They can have to do with people who dress a certain way, or just some prejudice, people who do something or commit some crime or do something. question. Why do they feel that way? What made those ideas and made them feel that they were true? If confronted with them, how would your character respond? How would they try to justify them? Because it's human nature to justify what we do. Here's a challenge if you've been going through this. Try to write a scene where your character realizes something wrong with some preconceived idea they have. Extra credit challenge. Now, this is the section that you do not have to fill out if you do not want to do it. If you don't want to do this, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just for anybody who wants to try it and to think about this idea. What if your character became evil? Or if they're already evil, you can imagine them becoming good. Think of how it would happen. What would lead to it? Now, they can't be mind-controlled into it. This has to be their choice. Write them explaining their dissent if you'd like. Write something about it at least. Use the point of view of them, a concerned friend, a victim of their actions if you want. And if you're doing the other one, you can be told, you can write about the side change or the reason, and it can be told by a person who they helped or even betrayed an angry fellow evildoer. But just write about a side alliance change. That is their choice. It could be fun if you want to let yourself go down that road and think about this. Have your character fail. Think of a way they can fail in a little way or in a big or major way. What if they couldn't achieve either of their biggest goals? What would they do? How would they cope? Would they come up with something new? What? Would they fall into despair? How would they react? In reflection, was this hard for you? Was it uncomfortable to write about your character doing wrong things or being evil? Ask yourself why. Really think about it. Now, I'm not saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be, your character is definitely a Sue now. I'm just saying, if it's good to think about these kind of things in relation to you and your character and think about why you feel that way. Just write a journal entry on it or something. Think about it. I mean, you might have a problem if you have a hard time ever making your character be at fault. Then there's probably a problem there. But it's a good question.